We're a one-income family. We have a 10-year-old and a baby who's under a year old. I can't work due to health chronic pain issues. My husband works full-time, usually 35, 40 hours a week. When I cook dinner, I make enough so my husband has leftovers to take to work the next day. He has the habit of eating what's supposed to be his lunch as a large nighttime snack before bed. We have plenty of stuff he can snack on or heat up that's not his lunch for the next day. Then he ends up eating out instead, and he hates fast food, so he spends $20, $25 on lunch each day he eats his lunch as a snack. This adds up and makes money tighter for us. I get it's his income, but it's affecting the entire family. I've asked him not to eat his lunch as a snack, but he says he loves my cooking and can't help it, and I should feel complimented he enjoys it so much. I do appreciate that he likes what I cook so much, but I also like knowing our bills will all be paid and we can afford gas, groceries, household supplies and stuff for the kids without being in the red each week. Am I the idiot? Edit. If I make more for dinner, he will have 3 RD/4 the helpings. I do the grocery shopping and try to get everything I can on his snack list. He will still eat his lunch as a snack. Hubby is a recovering gambling addict and currently owes $100,000 in back taxes that I'm trying to also budget to pay towards each month. He currently works in retail, making around $40,000 a year. He has a master's in economics and used to make $200, 000 plus, but some bad decisions in life messed that up, and he ended up in legal trouble and can no longer work in his former industry. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, your husband is being irresponsible, and it's both of your money because you are caring for the children and household for both of you, just as he is caring for the income for all of you. Come up with a solution together. Either make more food when you cook and portion out 2 lunches worth for the fridge, or, if he just enjoys eating out, plan for the whole family to enjoy going out much less often than his every day, or learning not to eat huge amounts at night before bed or something else. Edit. And maybe you should take over management of the finances and set a budget. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Having been in this position, the only thing that worked was sitting my husband down and actually showing him the numbers. Say he's eating out 3 X's a week, that's $60, $75 per week or $240, $300 per month, $2,880, $3,600 per year. Girl, that's a family vacation. That he's eating, that's a full month's or more rent mortgage, simply because he won't save dinner leftovers for lunch and stop eating out. Lay out the actual cost of his snacking and give him a reality shock. It might help put things in perspective for him. Good luck. Comment 3. Oh, OP, you buried the lead on this one. You're sweating the $2,000, $3,000 he spends on lunches in a year when you gloss over the heavy debt, his gambling and the job loss due to bad decisions, like maybe embezzlement. The problem isn't simply his eating habits or poor planning. He's a complete and total train wreck and you have decided to stick with him. It won't get better. I'd run like the wind. Not the idiot, but please get therapy and a good divorce lawyer. Now for the update. Well, folks, buckle up. It's been a wild 2 weeks in our little household. After the last post, things escalated quickly. One night after dinner, when I caught my husband sneaking off with his lunch for tomorrow, I finally snapped. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but I felt like I was out of options. I sat him down and laid it all out for him. I showed him our bills, our bank statements, the monthly expenses. I explained the dire straits we were in and how his eating habits were a part of the problem. He was quiet for a while, which is always a good sign. Then he surprised me. He admitted that he'd been using the excuse of loving my cooking to mask his own anxiety and stress eating. He had been feeling guilty about our financial situation, and eating was a way for him to cope. Realizing that eating wasn't solving anything, he decided to get help. He joined a support group for stress eaters and started seeing a therapist. It's only been 2 weeks, but I've already seen a huge change in him. He has stopped eating his lunches at night and has even begun to exercise a bit to help with stress. But the most dramatic change happened a few days ago. He came to me with a plan to tackle our debt. He'd contacted the IRS and worked out a payment plan for the back taxes. He also started searching for a second job to help cover the monthly payments. He's applied at several places and even has a few interviews lined up. While we're not out of the woods yet, I'm finally seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm hopeful for the first time in a long time. It's taught us both the importance of communication and facing our problems head on. We're stronger as a family now, and I'm hopeful for the future. Guess it's true what they say. Things sometimes have to get worse before they get better. But if things continue down this path, I think we'll be just fine. TLDR. Husband confessed to stress eating, got help, and is now taking steps to fix our financial situation. Things are finally looking up. Now for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. It's clear that your husband is going through a tough time, and his coping mechanism might not have been the healthiest, but at least he's admitted it and is taking steps to improve himself. It's important to remember that everyone handles stress differently, so while it's not ideal, he's not necessarily the AH for stress eating. What matters is that he's seeking help and making positive changes. That's something you should support him with, not judge. 2. You're the idiot. It seems like you're painting your husband out to be the bad guy here for his stress eating, but he's human, and we all have our moments of weakness. It's not easy to admit when we need help, let alone seek it. It's commendable that he's not only joined a support group and started therapy, but also actively trying to rectify your financial situation. Your role should be to support him, not pass judgment. 3. No idiots here. It sounds like you're both going through a tough time, and it's taking a toll on you both in different ways. Your husband's chosen coping mechanism may not be the healthiest, but he's acknowledged that and is taking steps to change. The fact that he's also taking active steps to address your financial issues is a positive sign. It's important to remember that this is a difficult time for both of you, so try to be supportive and understanding instead of assigning blame. Now, for the next story. I, 30-year-old female, am biracial. My mother is Afro-Jamaican and my father is Irish Ashkenazi Jewish, so my hair is extremely curly and I have a lot of it. I usually wear it braided to manage the heat and humidity, but tomorrow is wash day, so it's currently loose. I had to go to the grocery store for a dinner party, but the closest store was out of what I needed, so I had to go to the predominantly white suburbs. On my way out, I feel something tugging on my head, so I whip around. There's an older white woman, maybe in her mid to late 60s, withdrawing her hand. She says, "I just wanted to see how soft it is." Today was just not a particularly good day, so I did yell at her, "Is there a freaking petting zoo sign pinned to my back?" She immediately started stuttering and trying to explain herself, insisting that she didn't mean any harm. I responded by asking, "If you wouldn't pet a dog without asking first, what makes you think it's normal to stick your filthy hands in a stranger's hair?" She started crying and other people started coming over to see what the problem was, so I just left. I told the story to my husband, 42-year-old white male, and my parents, 57-year-old female and 67-year-old male. My mum is on my side, but my dad and husband are saying that I could have been more understanding to this woman, so now I'm asking Reddit, edited to correct my mum's age. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Comments are locked due to continued rule violations. Rule 1. Be civil, attack ideas, not people. The purpose of this sub is to determine and explain who is in the wrong, not to eviscerate anyone. Treat others with respect while helping them grow through outside perspectives. Derogatory or dehumanizing language, including insults, violate this rule. This rule applies to everyone, even those not on Reddit. Don't insult others or get into spats in the comments. Don't comment to remind users of the rules. Use reports. Be respectful. Be nice. Don't be a jerk. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Sure, you could have been kinder, but letting people get away with that kind of behavior is the reason we still see them behave that way to this day. I'm a white woman and I wouldn't dream of touching anyone's hair or pregnant stomach or arm, etc. She was out of line. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You were right to yell at her. Bet she won't try that specific trick again. And I love the petting zoo comment, that was lovely. If it isn't part of your own body, you don't freaking touch it. I mean, damn. Now, for the update. After a month since the incident, my work schedule got switched, so I started going to the grocery store at a different time. I'm standing in the produce aisle when I hear a familiar voice. I turn around and I see her, the older white woman. She's with another woman, maybe her daughter, who's pushing a stroller. She doesn't notice me, but I stiffen. I consider leaving or just avoiding her, but something compels me to stay. One day I bump into her in the bakery aisle. We both reach for the same loaf of bread. She recoils when she sees me, obviously remembering our last encounter. I force out a polite smile and step back, allowing her to take the bread. She thanks me hesitantly and scurries off, not making eye contact. A week later I notice her again. This time she's alone. I see her staring at me from a distance. She looks like she wants to say something but is holding back. I decide to approach her, my heart pounding in my chest. She looks taken aback as I walk towards her but doesn't move away. "I see you here often," I begin, trying to keep my tone neutral. "I don't want any animosity between us. Can we Just move past what happened. She looks at me for a long moment, her eyes welling up with tears. She nods and apologizes. We make small talk about the store's current sales, her grandchildren and the weather. It's awkward, but it's a start. I go home that day feeling lighter, thinking maybe I've broken through. But then, the following week, I see her in the grocery store again. She's with a group of older white women. I overhear them talking about me. That's her, she's pointing at me. She's telling them about the incident. They look at me, their faces a mixture of disbelief and scorn. My heart sinks. I notice the familiar stares returning, the whispering behind hands. I see parents pulling their kids closer when I pass by. My stomach churns every time I have to make the trip to the store, but it's the only one close to our house. I come home one day and break down in front of my husband. He's silent for a long time, then finally says, "Maybe we should just move. Find a place where you're not that girl who made an old woman cry." I can't help but feel a sense of loss. I loved our home, our community. But now it feels tainted. I'm tired, so tired of being seen as the aggressor, the problem. I want to be just a woman buying groceries, not a spectacle, not a monster to be avoided. My mum is furious. My dad is quiet on the phone. I can hear him sighing on the other end. We hang up, and I'm left to consider what I should do next. My husband is supportive, but I can see the worry in his eyes. It's been a month, but it feels like a lifetime. I thought I could make a difference, but all I've done is isolate myself more. I thought I was strong, but I'm left feeling weak and defeated. I thought I could change perceptions, teach respect, but instead I'm the one who's being taught a harsh lesson in reality. It seems like understanding isn't something that comes easy, but it's a battle I'm willing to keep fighting, one day at a time. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. It's evident that you're making an effort to rectify a past mistake, and it's unfortunate that the woman is not able to accept your attempts at amends. People often judge others based on past incidents without considering their growth or change. It's unfortunate that your community is not providing the support and understanding that you need during this time. 2. Not the idiot, but consider the possibility that the woman might be spreading the story due to her own fears or misunderstandings. It's always challenging to navigate such situations, and the community's reaction isn't making it any easier. However, standing your ground and continuing to show your true character might eventually change their perception. 3. Not the idiot. It's a tough situation, and it's admirable that you're willing to keep fighting for understanding and respect. The woman's actions seem to be more reflective of her own insecurities than your character. Keep being you, and don't let this incident discourage you from being a kind and respectful person. Now for the next story. I have a son named Jack who is 14 years old. He is a horrible picky eater, so getting lunch out on the town is a nightmare most of the time. Now I had all the kids with me to go visit a relative in the hospital. Everyone got grabbed out of school for it. The hospital was a 3-hour drive and we went up this morning. By lunch everyone was starving, so we stopped by Chick Father-in-law A. There is a trend of putting the mac and cheese on the sandwich with a sauce. Jack mentioned this, and I told him I will not buy him more food if he does it and he doesn't like it. Well, he did it and he hated it. Now everything was touching, so he couldn't just eat the sandwich after taking it off. I didn't buy him more food like I said, and he didn't eat his concoction that he made. After that we drove back home and he was really hungry. My wife came home and he started telling her how I starved him. We got in an argument for not buying him more even though we could afford it. Both of them think I am a huge jerk for this. Am I the idiot? Should I have just bought more? He doesn't have a sensory issue and he's only allergic to cats. We had him tested. If he doesn't find the taste up to his liking, he won't eat it. This includes leftovers. The same meal he liked before isn't worth eating as a leftover. Guys, this kid has been tested. The school checks for being on the spectrum. He's not on it. Yes, I know what AFRID is, he doesn't have it. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Sometimes it is not about money, it's about teaching a lesson, especially with kids. He was given the consequences of his actions before he made his decision. He chose to make that decision anyway. He could have cut off a quarter of the sandwich and put the mac and cheese on the small part, then had the rest to eat if it went wrong. He chose all or nothing instead. He will never learn about consequences if he does not have to deal with them. No 14-year-old is going to starve to death for missing one meal. It is not like he missed a week's worth of meals. It was one. Your wife needs to learn to stop caving to a child. He will remain picky forever. Comment 2. Yes, I love the fries and you should have enjoyed the meal. Your son, he needs to learn a lesson. You did not refuse him food, you bought him food. You told him not to mix his food, that he wanted, but he did. Jack refused to eat the food he wanted because of his actions that he was warned against. Jack is unaware of consequences and your wife is not helping. He was hungry only because of his own actions. If he was a picky 5-yo, then that's different. The kid is 14. He is old enough to understand. Too bad your wife isn't. Comment 3. Not the idiot that said, when a picky eater tries something else, that is brave. It's a fine line between encouraging expanding and discouraging expansion of his diet. You might try ordering something you know he likes for yourself, not making a big deal out of it. So if he doesn't like what he tasted after he got his order, then you can offer to exchange. Makes you both heroes. Now for the update. In the past month, Jack has taken a rather obstinate stance in his eating habits. I thought maybe he was just being finicky, a way to assert his control. As a teenager, he's been pushing boundaries left and right, but his refusal has evolved from being about tastes to principles. We've had a few heated discussions about this, as his mother and I are concerned for his healthy growth. One day he didn't eat until dinner, refusing breakfast and lunch because he didn't like the food. He ended up going to bed hungry that night too, because the dinner was something he decided he didn't feel like eating. His mother and I decided to let him prepare his own meals, hoping he would learn to appreciate the time and effort that goes into making food. Instead, Jack started buying fast food with his pocket money every day, despite our numerous lectures about the health repercussions. The breaking point came last week when Jack ended up in the hospital with acute gastritis and dehydration. The first time we've been back to a hospital since the relative visit. My heart pounded as I sat in the sterile hospital room next to his bed, watching him sleep off the painkillers. His mum has been feeling guilty for not keeping a closer eye on his eating habits, thinking she could have prevented this. And as for me, I can't help but think about that day at Chick father-in-law A. Maybe I should have bought him more food. Maybe I could have handled it differently. We're trying to figure out how to navigate this, how to ensure he learns the importance of a balanced diet without causing another rebellion. But for now, all plans are on hold until Jack gets well. He's scheduled to stay in the hospital for a few more days under observation. As I sit here in the harsh hospital light, all I can think about is that maybe my strict approach, my inability to bend, has led to this. And in a way, I feel like I've failed Jack. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that it's going to take a lot of patience and understanding to navigate this rocky terrain. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. It's clear that you're worried about Jack's health and you've tried various ways to help him. However, it's important to remember that he is making his own choices here. Yes, he's ended up in the hospital due to poor choices, but ultimately those were his decisions to make. Moving forward, consider seeking professional help to address the underlying issues that may be causing his refusal to eat properly. 2. No idiots here. It's a tough situation for everyone involved. Jack is exercising his independence, but it's also affecting his health negatively. As parents, it's natural to feel guilty, but remember, you can't control all of his choices. It's good you're focusing on his recovery now. In the future, a dietitian or therapist could be beneficial in guiding him towards healthier choices while respecting his autonomy. 3. Not the idiot. It's certainly a difficult situation for you as parents, but it's crucial to remember that Jack is accountable for his own actions. He chose to buy and consume fast food, knowing it may harm him. The guilt you're feeling is understandable, but it's not entirely your responsibility. Going forward, it might be helpful to engage in an open dialogue with Jack about the importance of good nutrition and the potential consequences of his choices. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.